This will be the 113th edition of Paris-Roubaix, otherwise known as l'Enfer du Nord.
The Hell of the North.
Or the Queen of the Classics.
La Reine de Classique. No, that's just a guess.
Magnifique.
Yeah.
Now, the race first started way back in 1896, and as ever, it's an absolute brute, with 27 secteurs of pavé over the race's 253.5 kilometres. Now, the first section comes after 98, and the final section comes at 252 kilometres, just before the entrance to the velodrome.
Yeah, those 27 sections of pavé actually add up to a total of 52.7 kilometres. Now, the longest of those is 3.7 k's in length, and it comes reasonably early on, running from Kivé to Saint-Python. But the first main appointment for all of the riders hoping to do well is the Arenberg forest, these irregular cobblestones that were laid all the way back in the times of the Battle of Waterloo. The peloton's going to be racing towards that section at 60 k's per hour plus, almost like a bunt sprint as they try to position themselves towards the front. As we've seen in the past, this is not a section where you're going to win the race, but it certainly is one where you could possibly lose it.
Yeah, but despite the significance of Arenberg, there's actually still 100 kilometres still to race, including 18 further sections of pavé, including Mons-en-Pévèle and then the brutal Carrefour de l'Arbre, which Matt and Tom brilliantly checked out for us last year, and in the wet as well.
I know, my wrists are still aching as well, Si.
Why they? What were they aching
Well,
for?
pavé.
Oh, right, thanks for clearing that up.
Tough.
Another one down. They certainly weren't designed for road bikes to go over, that's for sure.
If it's not already, by now the race should have whittled down to a select group of battle-hardened contenders. Much like you and Tom, actually.
Cheers, Si.
Yeah. And then there's just 3 sectors of pavé before the infamous Roubaix Velodrome, where they do a lap and a half.
I incredibly punctured on the velodrome last year. Not on the pavé.
Whoa, punctured!
Really? It's pretty rough though, isn't it?
It was a bit bumpy.
Might have been a slow one that you got from the pavé. You don't only noticed it.
Did explode.
Puncher! Bollocks.
Paris-Roubaix is a race that throws up more surprise winners than, say, the Tour of Flanders. Servaas Knaven, Johan van Sommeren, Stuart O'Grady, for example, all top riders, very, very strong riders, but riders that aren't necessarily on the list of favourites. And that basically means that you need to go into Paris-Roubaix with strength and depth.
Yeah, I guess you could even add last year's winner, Niki Terpstra, to that kind of case, really. He didn't enter the race as a top favourite, although this year he will be much more of a marked man, partly due to that amazing win, but also because his teammate and 4-time winner of the race, Tom Boonen, will not be at the start. Although he does still come with a very strong set of teammates, because Zdenek Stybar and Stijn Vandenberg, you'd have to say, are potential winners if everything goes right.
The other cobbles king who's also missing, obviously, is Fabien Cancellara, and that does mean that another team is going to have to pick up the responsibility of controlling the race, and we think that is going to be Team Sky. Yeah. Now, although obviously they tried that tactic in Flanders last weekend and it didn't pay off, they've got 4 potential winners of Roubaix in their midst. So we're thinking Wiggins, Stannard, Thomas, and also Luke Rowe. So that should mean that in the latter part of the race, then they will have strength and depth, and they can play that numbers game to their advantage.
Yeah, so there's a couple of teams who have multiple leaders for the day itself, but there are also presumably going to be a number of teams who will put everything behind one single rider. So I'm thinking probably Sepp van Mark, despite a bad showing in Flanders, he'll be completely supported by Lotto Jumbo. We've also got last week's winner, should I say, Alexander Kristoff. He'll be fully supported by Katusha, Sagan for Tinkoff Saxo, John Degenkolb for Giant Shimano.
Gregor van Avermaet for BMC.
Yeah, don't forget Lars Bohm, who won the cobble stage in the Tour de France last year in atrocious conditions. Class rider.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, and don't forget Lotto Soudal as well.
Yeah, trio riders.
Trio, yeah. Jürgen Roelandts. I mean, Andre Greipel was in imperious form, attacking all the time. And of course, the young superstar, Thijs Benoot, 21 years of age. I think he could have run top 10.
It'd be cool if Greipel won, though, wouldn't it? Like,
if he was capable of it,
if he was there in the finale, it could be exciting. But
who would win? Go on then, head to head, Greipel versus Degenkolb on the Roubaix Velodrome.
It would be tight. I think it would be within a wheel. I think it'd be cat and mouse. I think you'd wind it up.
You haven't answered. Go on, who is it?
Degenkolb after that kind of distance. I just think he's just got a bit more in the tank.
I'd agree actually with that. Strangely, I don't know if that's happened before, is it? I just agreed with you.
Let's see it happen, because we want other people to win. But that would be amazing.
Yeah, I think Degenkolb actually would probably edge it. But hey, go Andre.
Vincenzo Nibali is not going to make podium.
Okay, it's time to give the kiss of death to 3 riders who were previously in with a chance of winning.
Sorry, guys.
That's right. It's time for GCN's predictions.
Well, I'm not going so much for a prediction as actually just a rider that I really hope manages to pull it off on Sunday and who has a genuine chance, and that is Bradley Wiggins, who has been aiming for this race ever since he won the World Time Trial title towards the end of last year. I mean, he's a rider who's won so many different kinds of races on the track, on the road, Tour de France, of course, World Time Trial Championships. And if he did manage to do this last World Tour race of Team Sky and win it, he'd have probably the most rounded palmarès, certainly of the modern generation, but probably of cyclists overall through the time.
Yeah.
Is that why you've grown a beard in homage to Brad?
Yeah. I'm just going to,
Fair enough though, I mean, that's dedication.
I hadn't thought about it before that, but now it is.
Just a subconscious Bradley Wiggins supporter's beard. Yeah, fair play, mate. Well, I'm going to go for Zdenek Stybar. This is remarkably only his 3rd attempt at Paris-Roubaix, and his record is incredible. In 2013, to his first attempt, he was in the lead group of 3, only to get taken out by Spectator, if you remember, on the Carrefour de l'Arbre section with just 15k to go. And then the following year, he finished 5th in that big bunch sprint from 2nd onwards. And then this year, he's got all to play for. But he's much more rounded as well than just a cobble warrior. I think it's worth mentioning that he is a 2-time former cyclocross world champion. And so if it rains on Sunday, and please let it rain, he's got to be the man.
Good tip. With or without teeth as well.
Well, yeah, it's probably less aerodynamic without the tooth, but you know, definitely get it fixed this week.
Definitely a good tip, Steve. I'm going for the mustachioed German. He's already taken Milan-San Remo this year, John Degenkolb of Giant Alpecin. Yeah, 2 monuments in the space of sort of 3 weeks is a big call.
Just thinking of another famous mustachioed German.
So, anyway, he's got a moustache. He's German. I love his panache. I love his flair. Remarkably strong. 2nd place last year. Don't forget, on great form already this year. A stealthy 7th place in Flanders, was up or near the head of affairs all day. I think he could be the man in Roubaix, and arguably the quickest after a very, very long race as well. So I think Degenkolb's the man for me.
Well, you certainly wouldn't put it past him, and actually there's a reasonable chance of a rider taking 2 monuments out of the first 3, because Kristoff's obviously flying as well. 2nd at San Remo, 1st last week in Flanders, and you really wouldn't count him out on Sunday either.
Is this the year for the super strong sprinter?
Could be. Well, it is so far, isn't it?
Yeah, so super strong, super versatile, but super fast.
Michał Kwiatkowski.
Feels good when predictions go well, doesn't it?
Yeah, we nailed this week's World Champs.
We bossed it, Dan.
So that was ours. What about Neil?
OMG, it's Niall live.
What do you reckon, Neil?
Yeah, who's going to win?
If you look at the classics as a bit of attrition all the way from Milano-San Remo through Roubaix, we have 1 week left, and it's sort of become a matter of who's still got the form, who hasn't faded a bit. And it might not be real original, but I've got to look at the strongest guys from the Tour of Flanders. Kristoff, Terpstra, they've got to be the favorites heading into Roubaix.
Well, there you go. Blow me. Any of you are lucky enough to travel to Paris-Roubaix to watch it live, you can have a great day out and see the race live in several places if you're prepared to travel about a bit like Simon did.
Yeah, so 2 years ago, this was my itinerary and it worked brilliantly. So first up, you can watch the race on Sector 25, which is the longest one of the cobbles. And then you can head to Arenberg and watch the crucial section there. Then on your way to Carrefour de l'Arbre, there's another one right next to the auto route, so Sector 13. And then, like I said, you're at Carrefour de l'Arbre to see the final showdown of the cobbles. And it's just absolutely brilliant. Although you missed the start and the finish, well, the real racing happens.
Well, they're the two
right
main sectors, aren't they, where the big action, so that's all the split.
That was great. Absolutely great.
You can catch up with the finish later anyway, or even go into a bar and watch it live after you've seen the action in front of you. But anyway, that just about wraps up our Paris-Roubaix preview for 2015. But if you can't get enough of the cobbles, well, we've got plenty for you here on GCN. If you'd like to learn how to ride over Pavé, well, why not let Matt and Tom take you through it by clicking on the video up here. And if you'd like to see our 10 riders that we think you should look out for on Sunday at the race, you can find them by clicking down here.
Don't forget as well, you need to subscribe to GCN if you're a true classics fan. So just click on us.
Please do. Tell your friends. Absolutely free, isn't it?
There's, if you notice in that video there, the one of Matt and Tom, there's a lot of bicep rippling going on.
There's a lot of bicep
rippling. It's really
rippling.
quite impressive.
I remember it well. And all that spray that was spraying up on my face, and Tom, it was Amazing day.
I'll watch that video again just to see your biceps, I think. Woo! Hey! Yeah! That's a wrap, guys.